Good morning, people. Happy Thursday. Today, I'm doing a Valentine's themed episode. For everyone that has a man, a woman, whatever, I got something for you that you're gonna spend. Like, I got something for you. It's right here. A big one of those. No, I'm just kidding, but yeah, you're lucky. And it sucks to be single on Valentine's Day. Moving on. Today, I am talking about something I see for some reason all the boys every time I go out, I see people struggling with it, but talking to women. And this is important because I'm starting to see where people I know, they get put in a position to score, but then they don't know what to say. They don't know how to speak to a woman. They have no clue what to do. And so the shot that should have went in, should have been a W, just becomes an L because they don't know how to talk or they don't know what to talk about or whatever. But hold on. Sorry. Got my iPad here. So, just to keep me in top. Anyways. But to start this off, it's like, Quiz, what do you know about girls? How do you, like, are you a dating expert or something? And it's no. But let me tell you a story, and it might set the tone. It might help you understand that I am good at least speaking to women and making friends with them. Well, when I was in high school, right, I used to live with a really good friend of mine, Demetrius, and we lived together in the basement. And something interesting is his parents, they weren't really strict about girls too much. So we used to have girls over all the time, but one of my favorite stories ever was that during homecoming, our junior year, right? We go, we get lit, we have, we were pretty popular, so it was a fun time. We then decide to have people over. And what ends up happening is we have literally probably 10 to 12 girls come over, and then it's just me, Demetrius, and my other friend Gabe, and that was it. So the ratio was literally 4 to 1. And I remember when we walked in, his mom was awake still and like was in the kitchen or something waiting for us, or just I don't know. She was just doing something, right? And she saw that, and the interesting thing is I didn't really think much of it at the time. I was like, "Oh, we're just like our friends are over, whatever." And then the next day, she was telling us how shook she was. She's never seen three dudes bring 12 girls to the house, right? And it's funny because that was a normal thing, not the 12 girls, but just girls coming over, a lot of them, and just hanging out, right? It wasn't really a weird, like, sexual thing ever for most of the time, it was just they were our friends, right? We had for example, I used to have friends just come over all the time that were girls. Demetrius used to have this group of girls that would come over all the time that just wanted to hang out with us. Nothing even really weird was ever going on. They just liked to hang out with us. Um, and the point of this story is basically saying I know how to speak to women, and I'm not gonna give you some fairy tale of, "Oh, I'll teach you how to manipulate women to have sex with you. I'll teach you what to say that will make a woman like you." Because I don't think that's even real. I think that's all BS. But I do think I can teach you guys how to just speak to a woman and become friends with them. And I think that is very, very important because that is the key to even just all these when guys are talking to girls, right? That's the first way they're gonna judge you other than physically is when they meet you and how you communicate with them, right? So I think if you know how to talk to a girl, even if it's in a friendly manner, you have a very much higher chance of like dating them or whatever you want to do, taking them on a date, getting them to go on a date, whatever, getting them to like you or find you attractive. So first off, though, right? I think understanding women is important, and that's why you should try to have a lot of friends that are girls. So my experience back in high school with having like literally, I probably had like 15 friends that were just my like girls that were just my friends. Nothing weird, just my friends, just people that like to talk to me. We'd hang out at school, hang out after school, whatever. But that really just taught me what girls, what they like to talk about, what their interests are, and obviously they're a lot different than what males are. But yeah, and kind of just how they communicate, what communication style they like, how to just speak to them in a different manner. Because I think you should speak to a woman with different just mannerisms, like be yourself, but it's not really like talking to the boys. It can be close, but it's not exactly the same. So I think if you start to become friends, right? So if we practice, right? I'm gonna talk about this later, but when you practice and you're trying to just talk to women in a friendly manner and just trying to get to know them truly as a friend, it really will start to teach you and help you understand like women like to talk about, what they like to hear. What I mean by that is like your manners, right? They want someone who has good manners usually. They want someone that is polite, someone that probably speaks softly, is not too obnoxious or loud. Anyways, but yeah, just start to understand, like I said, what they like to talk about, and I think that's really, really important. Now, why am I talking about this in the first place? Well, it's Valentine's Day, but also modern dating is garbage. It's the worst. It's the worst it's ever been. Everyone knows it. The statistics show it itself. It is terrible. It sucks. It even sucks for me, and I really don't. I do pretty good, and I think it sucks. So, and for my boys, it's even worse. Anyway, let me just tell you some statistics so that you can understand how, like, just to show how bad it is. So, first off, this is a great one. 90% of singles say dating has become a lot harder than in the past, specifically in English speaking countries. So, every 9 out of 10 people in the world say that dating has become harder. Well, that sucks. I thought social media, I thought apps, I thought everything was supposed to make it easier. I guess not. 53, this is the next statistic. 53% of singles report feeling drained from modern dating. Okay. So half of people that are single, half the people that are trying to date, they're drained. They're tired because it sucks so bad. Half of us are giving up because it sucks and it's draining, and it is draining. Oh, and there's like many other problems. There's many reasons that it sucks. I'm not gonna get into that. Mostly today, I'm just gonna talk about how I think all like in reality, this is the truth. I really do believe this. We, since COVID, have become very bad at being social, very bad at meeting new people, very bad, very, very bad at just communicating. So, like COVID ruined that. And I see it and it gets worse and worse. And I don't really go out often, but when I do go out, I see it. I got talked to a lot of younger people in the generation below me. They tell me all about it. It's brutal. It's brutal out here. And COVID really did damage, right? So it's not even about women and men, social, like their social skills. For example, like we don't really understand each other anymore. I think it's gotten worse. The gaps have gotten wider. It's not even between men and women. I even see people just being bad at being social with their same sex. So people having a hard time communicating, making friends with men, like from men like me to another man. Most of the time, I see very bad communication skills. I see very bad social skills. I see very bad, like, yeah, I guess because of all that, it's hard to make friends, right? That is why this generation is quote unquote one of the loneliest generations of all time, or the loneliest generation of all time. We are bad socially. Very. We don't know how to make friends anymore. I don't even know if we want to make friends. I'm pretty sure we do. But regardless of that, all social skills are gone. COVID has done damage. And I see it time and time again. Like I said earlier, where so screw the friends part, screw the making friends part, where it's interesting. Even though that this is true, I see my friends get put in positions to score. To that means go on a date, whatever. And because of that, so yeah, anyway, sorry. They're set up to score. Then they start talking. Then it comes to the point where they're alone with the woman and they don't know what to do. They don't know what to say. And it goes up here, pshoo, and it's ruined. And then, yeah, they just ruin it because they don't know how to talk to a girl, it seems, for some reason. Anyway, so I'm going to give you some basic tips. Like I said, this is basic. This is not no magic tricks, not no manipulation. This is just what truly worked for me. I mean, like this just works for me. I think it will work for others. But first off, before you even think you can speak to a woman or make friends with a woman, ask yourself, are you even good at being social with your own sex? Are you good at making friends with males? And if you're not, right? I do not mean like I guess I see people who are good at holding a conversation with a man, like with another man. But for some reason with girls, they just can't handle it. It's just a whole different ballgame for some reason. But regardless of that, what I'm saying is I think you need better social skills than even knowing how to speak to the same sex. I think you should be able to. You should ask yourself, can you make friends with the same sex? Can you truly, when you meet someone, they want to be friends with you? Or or even they want to get to know you, right? To, do you think they'd want to hang out with you again or talk to you again the next time they see you, right? So, and for most of the time, and mostly everything I see, where I go, we're not even good at that. Most of us aren't even good at that anymore. Most of my friends that I see have a hard time making new friends, and that's okay. Um, but for example, right? It's like, well, quiz. What about you? Well, I'll give you my best example right now. Literally last weekend, I'm an accountant. As you know, accountants are weird. I took one of my, I'd say the weirder accountants, but I love hanging out with him, and I've like gotten to know him. But basically, this guy is the complete opposite of me. He's different. He's weird. Nothing wrong with that. But because of that, I was like, you know what? And this is where the practice begins. I say, you know what? He's weird. I got the vibes off. I've known him for a while now, but I got that vibes immediately when I met him. He's weird. He's different, but I want to get to know him. I want to try to practice getting to know someone, especially that's way different than me. I want to see how good my social skills really are. So over the past few months, we've gotten close. I became good friends with him, even though it was very different. Uh, you've got to communicate with him a little different. He's just a different guy. But regardless of that, I practice, and I became close friends with him. And I know after this I can become friends with literally anybody. But last weekend, he never goes out. I never really go out either. But I decided, you know what? I'm going to take him out and I'm going to bring him out of his shell. And guess what I did? I did just that. A guy who is different, probably hasn't been like around a lot of socialness and a lot of social situations. He came out of his shell and he had a great time. That is the practice I'm talking about. And that's what you should be trying before even talking to women. If you can't talk to the same sex, you're not going to be able to talk to a woman. That's a fact. If you can't make friends with the same sex, I guarantee you'll never be able to talk to a woman and pull a girl. You're just not going to be able to. That's just a fact. So let's start there. This is like the true basics. Let's start with, let me practice being social. Let me practice making friends with the same sex. Well, then you might ask yourself, well, how can I practice? Well, like I said, if you have someone at work, they don't even have to be weird like my coworker. They can just be normal. They can just be someone that you know about. Go try to talk to them and go try to make friends. And it might not work out the first time, but then try again and try again and see if you can get them to open up and try again and see. And next thing you know, if you keep trying, you might actually be able to make friends with them. But regardless, even if it does not work, you are practicing your communication skills. You are practicing how to talk. And reps is what matters. And I think reps with the same sex, they matter because, for example, right, when someone goes up to a girl and then they take a shot and they get denied, that actually hurts. But I think when you go up to someone and you try to make friends with a male and it doesn't really work out, it doesn't really bother you that much. It doesn't bother most people, and that's why it's a good thing to try it, right? So, and then I guess hold on, sorry. Talk about I have my iPad here and it's I'm trying my best to stay organized this time and not kind of go on random rants. So yeah, like I said, if it doesn't hurt that much when the same sex denies you, it doesn't when you're just trying to like make conversation, but it obviously stings a lot, and you don't want to do it again if you like try to attempt to take a shot at a woman and it doesn't work out. But when you practice this, right? When you practice your social skills, and this is a very interesting concept, I think. When you actually try to get to know someone, right? So you ask them questions and things, you come off as genuine. And something interesting, I was just FaceTiming a girl last night and we were talking about, well, what like why do girls like Quiz? Like what about him do they like? And interestingly enough, she said because you're a genuine. But then it's like, why are you genuine? Like, how do you make someone feel like you're genuine? Well, you truly ask them questions. And this is basically number two, right? I'm telling you, you need to get reps. What reps do you need to get? What should you practice? How do you actually make friends with someone? Well, you do it by asking questions. You do it by genuinely wanting to know about that person, right? And for once, maybe don't talk about yourself and ask this person question. Ask them about, and it's like, what can I ask? What can I ask what can I ask these people? Well, if it's a male, right, it's easier because most males can relate to topics. So sports, cars, business, technology, whatever. But in reality, though, you should ask to really make friends with someone or to show someone you're genuine. You need to ask them a question. You need to show them that you're interested in them, right? So yeah. And when it comes to women, right? So, and this is just a fact. This is what truly worked for me. Is girls just like to talk about themselves. That is a true fact. I know that's said a lot, but that is true. Girls like to talk about themselves. They just do. And that's okay. Most of them are yappers, but you gotta get them to open up, right? So, and what I mean by that is you need to dig deep. For example, I guess the best example I could say is when you ask something, you like dig deeper. So, for example, they say, "Oh, this is really easy." So you're talking, you're talking, you're talking. You just ask, "Where are you from?" And they tell you. And most people might just ask something else or just like don't know what to say. Or after a while, they're asking the most basic questions. But instead, what you should do is piggyback off that. So, where are you from? I'm from Aspen, Colorado. Oh, I heard it's beautiful there. What is it like? Do you like it? What was it like growing up there? Talk about it. Oh, is this that, and the third? Rich people, blah 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 blah. Oh, do you come from like a wealthy family or? Well, yeah, well, whatever. Okay, you get what I'm saying? You gotta piggyback these questions. Most people don't even know how to do that. It's 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 kind of it's weird. I don't know, but anyways, that's what I'm saying. Like, you just need to get them to want to talk about themselves. Once you get a girl to start talking about themselves, they start bringing down their defensive walls. Because everyone, especially when you're out and about, they have their defenses up. Especially with a stranger, they're gonna be defensive. So yeah, practice, ask questions. It's really not that hard. It just takes. I think at first it can be hard, but it just takes practice. And then when I go back to understanding women, talking like right when I talk about, oh, I think the key to my success is I had a lot of friends that were women when I was young, so I understood what they like to talk about. Over time with reps, you'll figure this out. But moving on, so now say for example, you've got the reps in, you've gotten a lot better at being social with your same sex, so males. You are feeling good. You know how to get them to talk. You know how to make friends. You could actually probably say that with at least the same sex, you're good at communicating. You're good at making friends. You're good at understanding them. You're good. You're good at communication. You're good at talking. Now it's time to take it to women. And something I think that really works is, and this is really important, you need to stop, every male needs to stop putting women on a pedestal. What I mean by that is, like, so you're good at talking to girls, or sorry, men. So now, when you talk to a man, you don't feel nervous, you feel normal. It's one of the bros. You're talking to one of the bros. You're not scared, you're not shy, you're not nervous, you're not afraid. But as soon as a woman comes in the picture, as soon as you have to talk to a girl, people are shook. People don't know what to say. People think they need to like act like a whole different person. People think that they need to do a backflip or something. There's so many different ways people cope and like react when a girl gets in the picture. For example, all of a sudden your boy's a clown, right? Before he wasn't that funny. Now the girls around, he's cracking jokes, he's bullying people, he's this, that, and the third. But my point is, you need to reframe women in your head and stop putting them on a pedestal and understand that they're human just like us. They're literally a lot more like us than you think. They have a lot more in common with us, with a male, than you would think. They're social creatures. They're just human. They're literally us. They're our DNA. They literally are. We're literally the same. So reframe that. You don't need to treat them differently. You don't need to put them on a pedestal. Just treat them like you would treat a man. Obviously, don't talk about the same things, but you should talk to them like they're a man. Or like, sorry, don't talk to them like they're a man, but talk to them like they're one of the bros. But obviously, be careful. And I'll get into that. But like I said, they're humans just like us. So you can treat them like a friend. You don't have to go off the bat trying to hit on them and like, you know what I'm saying? Because think about it like this. So first of all, we're out at the bar. Everyone has, especially women, girls are getting hit on 24/7 all the time. Literally all the time, especially when they're out. So they have these walls that they're used to, and most of the time these shots are redding. They're missing. They're shooting from space and they usually miss. And they get used to it and it's just like obnoxious probably after a while. So be different. Just be casual. Just talk to them like they're a friend. And when you're a man, I'm not saying, like I said earlier, talk to them like they're a man, but don't talk to them like a man. So what I mean by talking to them like they're a man, like talk to them like they're just one of the bros. Like there's no reason to put them on a pedestal. There's no reason to be nervous. There's no reason to act different. Just be yourself. Next, though, you do obviously need to treat them differently. So like I said, be polite. And over time, you'll figure out as you practice this what girls like to talk about. And they like to talk about a lot of things. They like to talk about obviously not sports. They don't want to talk about UFC. They don't want to hear about other girls. They don't want to do this, that, and the third. But what they do like to talk about, they do like to talk about themselves. They do like to talk about where they're from. They do like to talk about if they go to the gym. They do like to talk about even sex. They like not like in a weird way, but just the topic of it. They like to talk about. They like to talk about fashion, things like that. So just you need to get into a mindset where before you even ever get a girl, that can I be friends with a girl? Can I genuinely make friends with women? Can I? And once you can do that, once you truly know how to do that, and once you change your mindset, because I think a lot of people put girls on a pedestal too, because it's like, oh, they have a vagina, they have what I want, they're gonna give me sex, I need to put them on a pedestal. No, treat them like a friend. Treat them like a friend. Be normal. Treat them normally. Take them off the pedestal. And sooner or later, you're gonna be so good about doing this that you'll never get nervous again. It'll all just be friendly to you. It'll all be casual. It won't be some super nerve-wracking thing anymore. But you also need the reps, right? And this is mostly, I guess this video is pointed towards people who just don't, who have, like I said, well, first of all, there's people who if you can get put in a position to score and they know how to score. But there's people that don't even know how to get to that position to score, like get in, or they just have no clue what's going on. Their social skills are terrible. And that's okay, right? But I think with practice, everyone could be good at communicating. And I think we need to get better because this generation, the generation below us, COVID has cooked us. We're cooked. This is the loneliest generation right now. It's sad. We need to be better communicators. We need to be better at talking. And you can only do that by reps. No need to be afraid. But last thing, and this is something that I find really like a lot of success in, spitting no game is the game. Does that make sense? To most people, it does not. But it's always worked for me. It always worked for my friend Demetrius, too. You don't need to hit on girls. You don't need to compliment them all the time. You don't need to even off the rip take a shot at them. You literally can just treat them normally and score if you just talk to them like a normal person. That's the craziest thing, right? Think about that. That's literally been the key to my success is to treat them normal. Obviously, yes, people would say, well, you're also 6 foot, you're also this, that, and the other. True. But what about the guys that we all see, the goofy dude with the bad bitch? And I see it a lot. I see it all over Denver. Do you think they know how to talk? How do you think they got that girl in the first place? I'm curious. How do you think they got that girl? Let's be honest. One, probably because they're funny. Can funny be taught? Mm, I don't know. That's a hard one. But second, they probably know how to talk to them. They probably knew what to say when they first met. I guarantee you a lot of them didn't take a shot like that. Because if you imagine this, right? A bad a bad bitch. Whatever. A hot ass girl. Beautiful girl. You think the ugly dude who pulled her went up to her and took a freaking green, super crazy shot, like hit on her? No, he probably somehow casually worked his way in, and then he used his personality, he used his talking skills to win her over. And that's what you can do. It's not hard. It just takes practice. And then with this practice, with these reps, confidence. And confidence is key, I think, too. Right? This is probably my last talking point. Confidence is really, really important. It is. Because it's very like those dudes, right? Let's go back to the ugly dudes, to the fat dudes who have the bad, beautiful girl. Their confidence, I've seen them. Their confidence is out the roof. Their confidence was out the roof before they even met that girl. And that's because they know how to talk, right? And how do they know how to talk? Through reps, through whatever. So this is why this is all important. Get your reps in. At first, make it easy. Try to make a new friend at work tomorrow. Try to even just have a conversation with a stranger tomorrow of the same sex at work tomorrow. It could be anyone. Try it. Do it. Then do it again the next day. And keep doing it, doing it, doing it. Talk, talk, learn, learn, learn. Grow your skills. It just takes reps. It's just like everything. Talking is a skill. Just like getting good at video games, like getting good at a sport. It's all skills. So you need to practice. And don't be afraid, right? And once again, like I said, it's easier when you first start with the same sex. Because if they aren't interested, or if they don't want to be your friend, or if they don't want to engage, it doesn't hurt that bad. And obviously, even things like if you just start off with girls right away, it's gonna sting a lot more, and it's gonna bring you down, and you're not gonna want to try again. But if you just practice and then move on to women after you've got some skills, then I think you'll see. And I think if you just really tried to be better at talking, put yourself out there, you'll see a lot more success. I think one of my boys, I'm not gonna say his name, he's my dog though. A lot of the times, I think he could like have got laid, like literally with like beautiful girls, if he just in the moment like knew how to talk and wasn't so nervous and stuff. And I hope, right, one of our goals of this year is for him to get his reps in a little bit, for him or one of his goals, not our goals, but I want to help him with it, but to get his reps in and to just kind of practice and not be afraid. And I think if he actually truly does that by the end of the year, he'll be scoring a lot more than he has. But anyways, there's a topic for today. how to talk to girls. It's not rocket science. It's not some guru stuff. It's not some magic trick. It's just, it takes practice. It takes actual communication skills. And it takes time to learn. And if you just take the time and not try to rush things, because if you just keep going and going and going and doing the same stuff you've been trying, hitting on girls, doing this, that, and the third, without practicing your communication skills, if they are bad in the first place, then you're just gonna lose. You're gonna lose every single time. So yeah, just once again ask yourself, are you good at communicating truly? Can you make friends with anyone? Truly though. Not just talk to them, but make friends with them. Make them want to continue speaking with you. Can you hold a conversation with a male for over 10 minutes? Do you know how to carry conversation? Sometimes at first a lot of girls are defensive. They don't want to engage too much, but as you keep talking and carry the conversation, you keep pulling stuff out, they'll keep reciprocating. Next thing you know, their walls have came down and they're opening up. So yeah, can you open someone up with your communication skills, right? Those are all things that matter. And yeah, like I said, I see that skills are going down. I've gone downhill, so it's really bad. It's kind of sad. Makes me a little sad to see it, but I hope things get better. I want, yeah, I just want things to get better for everybody. So if you like I said, if you ever have questions, you can DM me on Instagram. If you ever need help, if you ever want to go out and I'll throw you some lobs, some slam dunks, let me know. But anyways, I hope this helped a little bit. It's really just the basics. Happy Valentine's Day to the people that are lucky to have a Valentine. Unfortunately, I'm not this year, but hey, there's always next year, right? Anyways, you guys have a good Thursday. Have a good weekend. Hopefully, everyone watching this, or I guess most people watching this won't have a person, but I hope you find a person. I hope next year's Valentine's Day is good for you. Anyways, peace. Thanks for watching. Love you guys.